So here is Oliver Dowden, Mark Harper, Rishi Sunak, Michael Tomlinson and Chris Philp showing what happens when you can't call one of your sacked colleagues a racist or an Islamophobe, because if you did, you'd open the door to the admission that loads of your other colleagues are as well, especially Suella Braverman.
Is it your view that saying, I believe they've got control of Cannes and they've got control of London, is that Islamophobia?
Well, I think the chance that it could be taken, the fact that it could be taken in that way is the reason why those comments led to the Chief Whip asking for an apology from the Prime Minister. I share those concerns about how they could be taken in that way, and that's why it was right he should be asked for an apology. And when he failed to give that apology, the whip was removed.
I think our viewers will hear very clearly, though, you are declining to give your own view on what those words mean, words matter.
I think I've been clear that they could be taken that way, right?
What Lee said was wrong.
Was it Islamophobic?
He was given the opportunity to retract.
I think most people agree that it was factually wrong, but was it Islamophobic? Straight answer, yes or no?
Well, no. He was given the opportunity to retract and apologise.
I'm giving you an opportunity to answer a straight question. Would you just answer the question?
Well, let me...
No, I won't let you go off the point. I will hold you to the question. Was what he said Islamophobic,
Richard,
yes or no?
Richard, can I answer the question that I've already been asked? You won't even let me answer the first question.
OK, let's wait for the answer. Let's see if we get one. Come on.
So, what he said was wrong. He shouldn't have said it. That's why firm action was taken. That's why the whip was taken away, as the Prime Minister said. I'm not going to get into textual analysis of what he said. It was wrong. That's a very strong word in my book. It was wrong. He shouldn't have said it. Firm action was taken. And you know, I'm going to leave it there.
The words of Lee Anderson, would you regard them as Islamophobic?
Well, I've been very clear that what Lee said was wrong, it was unacceptable, and that's why we suspended the whip. And it's important that everybody, but particularly elected politicians, are careful with their words and do not inflame tensions.
But there's a difference between wrong and Islamophobic. Were they Islamophobic?
Well, I think the most important thing is that the words were wrong.
Well, Nick, respectfully, I think what Lee said was wrong. Yeah. And as a result of what he said, he had the whip removed from him. That's robust
what was it
action.
Specifically that meant the whip had to go? We agree it was wrong, but why was it wrong?
Nick, it was wrong. What Lee
but why was
said,
it wrong?
What he said was wrong. As a result of what he said, the whip was removed from him. That was robust action.
No,
that was
why
robust
was it
action
wrong?
that was
That's
taken.
what I'm trying to get at.
It was wrong, Nick, because of what he said, and robust action was taken as a result.
You're well-educated. Let's try this a different way. Was it Islamophobic?
What he said was wrong, and robust action was taken, and the whip was removed within 24 hours.
Minister, was it Islamophobic?
Nick, it was wrong.
Minister, I'm going to, and I'm normally a very polite man, I'm actually going to effectively put the fact, I'll ask you now for the third time, I've asked you 6 times why it was necessary. For the third time, was it Islamophobic?
Nick, it was wrong.
I'll have to curtail the interview there. I'm grateful for your time, but enough already.
Is there any point in me even asking you whether Lee Anderson's comments were racist?
They were completely wrong.
Were they racist?
They were completely wrong. I think he should apologise.
And so it continues. Ferrari showing there, I mean, brilliantly, what happens if you push the point. I think Burley came close. The other interviews involved Laura Kuenssberg on the BBC, Alan Partridge on ITV, Channel 4 News interviewing Rishi Sunak, Nick interviewing Michael Tomlinson, and Burley interviewing Chris Philp. And Nick showing, really, and I don't mean this necessarily to criticise any of the other interviewers, but you know that I am possibly the biggest fan in the business of that line of questioning, where you just don't let them move on. You just, OK, give me the evidence. Yeah, that's fine, I'll hear you, but what's the evidence? But Burley did it with with the culture secretary talking about the BBC being biased, and she said, "Could you give me some evidence of the BBC being biased?" And she couldn't. She just said, "You're sick to death of me doing this, but I wrote in my first book that the country would be going to hell in a handcart if journalists didn't start asking for evidence and asking the same question until they got an answer to it." I suppose we could chalk it up as better late than never. It was Lucy Fraser who couldn't come up with any examples whatsoever of BBC bias, but it hadn't crossed her mind there wasn't any, because all of the newspapers whose approval she's desperate for are reporting every day that the BBC is biased. And there it is. Absolutely incontrovertible evidence that the Tory party can't describe Lee Anderson's offence accurately, because if they did so, it would, to paraphrase Michael Caine, it would blow the bloody doors off. And they'd all be on the same hook.